Which, because this is equally important, and that is Amendment 4. And let me just say, going into this, that I am absolutely opposed to Amendment 4. If we want to gum up the works and in the economy, local economy, any more around the state than that, that's what this will do. Now, Kelso, now that I've trashed Amendment 4 for a no vote, tell us what Amendment 4 is all about.
Well, shoot, with your recommendation there, what else does there need to be said?
No, we still do education because we want to tell people why.
Let me tell you something. As far as I'm concerned, this is the most important issue in the entire election. If this amendment gets passed, trains will be the last of your worries. Because and folks don't understand.
The tooth fairy in the sky is paying for the trains. We don't have to worry about that here in Florida. Anyway, side note. Amendment 4, development.
The easiest way to understand is I don't think a lot of folks understand what you go through whenever someone wants to put a building or open a business. Like, say somebody from Georgia or New York or whatever wants to open a business here in Hillsborough County. Well, they got to go through SWIFMUD. They got to go through the Environmental Protection Commission. They got to go through the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. They got to go through the Planning Commission. And then they got to have it voted on by the Hillsborough County Commission. That's the way the process works right now. With Amendment 4, they will have to go the extra step. They could wait up to 2 years to have it voted on by the public. It'll be crunched down into 75 words, and the voters have to make a decision on that. Now, according to the Washington Economics Group, if something like that passes, businesses will not want to come here. It could cost Florida up to 260,000 jobs. That's why...
Hold on now. We're talking jobs.
Yes.
So let's do this. Let's go ahead and vote yes on Amendment 4, and let's make it more difficult to have people getting a job in the state of Florida. Make a lot of sense, right?
And
it doesn't.
Here's something else that the other side doesn't want to tell you. And it's not just on whether someone wants to put a building there. It's any change to a comprehensive land use plan. Comprehensive land use plans are done per county, and it could be anything like putting a school somewhere, a police station, a fire station, what water drainage, sewage, runoff, and this ain't just me saying this. The Florida Supreme Court itself said that.
It might be a pretty good idea if all of that government spending could be held up a little bit, but that's not where I want to go with this. I'm serious. I'm talking about the private sector. I'm talking about people trying to come in. They have an idea. We want to take care of our environment. We want to take care of this most pristine place that we live, but it has to be sensible. And there are plenty of people in support of Amendment 4 who would be happy if there wasn't one iota of a house ever built again in the state of Florida. Never want to build a condo at the beach. Never want to have a restaurant over on A1A going down Indian Rocks. And the point of the matter is, you could have this Amendment 4 adopted, and on the local level, they could keep filing objections, filing clarifications, and in the permit process, you could basically stifle. And I believe if Amendment 4 was to be voted in, we'd have to come back sometime in the future and do what we could to repeal it, right or wrong.
You're very right, and it's very important. And again, the other side does not want to tell the truth on this. They say St. Pete Beach is not a good enough example. The St. Pete Times, the Tampa Tribune, every editorial board in the state of Florida has said it's the perfect example because what happened, the voters of St. Pete Beach had a similar law there. In 2008, they passed 4 comprehensive land use plans, and then some lawyers are now suing the taxpayers of St. Pete Beach. It has cost them millions of dollars in litigation. One of those lawyers who was suing them, his name is Ross Burnham. He is a co-founder of Hometown Democracy. He is making money from suing the people of St. Pete Beach. So whenever somebody asks you why would anybody want this to pass, Sue Happy lawyers want this to pass because they would make a lot of money.
Now, there's a lot of good lawyers out there, but we also know, and let's put it this way, opportunity knocks, and if you can be smart enough to arrange state law or a constitutional amendment that would benefit your area of expertise, well, you know what, he has a right to do that. We also have a right to stop it. And we're going to stop it because now, by the way, we know normally we don't usually embrace what the newspapers have to say across the state because we learned last night from our leading gubernatorial candidate. They're all in bed with Obama anyway, and that's why they're supporting Alex Sink. But sometimes they do get it right, and they get it right here because they actually know that even though this might be something that would be more attractive to the left in terms of environmental and regulation, they really know this is really going to gum up the works. And when it's all said and done, they want to sell newspapers. They've got to have influence in their communities. And that's why, I don't know generally, but I've seen Palm Beach Post, I think, Miami Herald, Orlando Sentinel, Jacksonville Times-Union. I think most of the major newspapers are against this, and with the high threshold, by the way, of 60%, I think it's pretty rough. But and I'm also buying in, just as a side note, Kelso, that there is a chance in this climate right now that everything on the ballot may just go down. Because of what's happening. I'm reading some of the polls that are out there that to hit the 60% threshold, for instance, I'm in favor of the class size adjustment amendment, but I think there's more of a chance with this change, which we want to have throw the bums out, or the Tea Party movement, or too much taxation, that some people may just go and vote no, nothing new, nothing else. Yeah. So if that happens, that may be favorable to us on this particular amendment. But the point is that government doesn't create jobs. When they create jobs, we're paying for it. It's your taxpayer dollars, it's my taxpayer dollars. The reason why we're stuck in the mud is because we've been given a bunch of smoke and mirrors from the Obama administration and the party leading in Congress that all of this stimulus was going to help us. Guess what? All we did was lower unemployment rate for a few months when the census workers went on, and now the census workers are coming off. That's why Florida's unemployment rate just went up.
Something else that should be also noted, every Republican running is against this, and so is every Democrat running. They're against as well. Alex Sink is on the record saying that is why you elect these county officials to make those kind of decisions. Linda Salsena fired her political consultant, Mitch Cates, who decided to leave her campaign and work on the Yes on 4, because think about it, she's running for county commission. It would look really ridiculous of her to say, vote for me to be a county commissioner. Yeah, I don't want to have the final say when it comes to what's the most important part of my job, which is changes to comprehensive land use plans and growth patterns. That's what the job of a county commissioner is. So no Democrat running is for this. No Republican running is for this. No editorial is for this. So you got to ask yourself, how far off the reservation do you have to go to be for it?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think this is one of those, there's not many times where a constitutional amendment comes along where everybody's against it. And I'd be very surprised. Now like we're doing today, we are not fair and balanced here. We are definitely right wing, no doubt about it. And I don't apologize for it, but we do have honest conversations, even though I have a decidedly partisan position. And we just explained to you about how cumbersome this would be if you had to have a local meeting and a meeting on a meeting. I mean, ask someone that has to go through normal permitting processes now. It could be 20 or 30, different levels of staff approvals, et cetera, et cetera. We've got enough bureaucracy right now. Go ahead.
And also think about this as a voter, okay? I can't tell you how many people I've talked to. They know who they're going to vote for as far as the partisan races, Republican, Democrat. But once they get past that, they get down to nonpartisan, it starts to get a little tricky. But then you got constitutional amendments, you got referendums, and our ballot is 4 pages long now. Could you imagine if you had to add up to 2 years worth of changes to comprehensive land use plans? You got over 6,000 changes in the state of Florida alone to comprehensive land use plans. Your ballot would probably double or triple, and you would and again, do you expect the average voter to understand the nuances of a comprehensive land use plan? And a couple hundred pages you're squishing down to 75 words. It can't be done, and it doesn't pass a lawyer's smell test.
And by the way, if you have a hard time figuring out this ballot, and that's why you're going to Bayward.com and you're going to Bill Bunkley's page and you're downloading those recommendations, you haven't seen anything yet for the ballots to come. You'll really need me in the future. And see, this could be job security for me, and I'm still against it because this is the wrong thing to do. Kelso Tanner, I always enjoy talking to you. Kelso, he is involved with so many things, and of course, in the area of political consulting. And so you're going to have to keep me up to date now. Again, Kelso, when those hard-hitting things are coming along, I need you to call me so we can keep our listeners up to date on what's
Anytime,
happening.
Bill.